What's up, everybody? Welcome to Countdown to Magic, the road edition. Jake Chapman here with you, the radio voice of the Orlando Magic. We're still working out the kinks. We're still testing this stuff out, figuring out how it works and how to have everybody synced up and all that good stuff. We appreciate you for tuning in. Magic Game Day here on the Orlando Magic YouTube page. You can catch the game tonight. Of course, 8 o'clock, we'll be taking on the New Orleans Pelicans at the Smoothie King Center. I'll probably say that about 40 times over the course of the broadcast. My favorite name of a building in the NBA. You can catch the game tonight at 8 p.m. on FanDuel, and you can hear me as well on 96.9 The Game and AM 740 beginning at 8 o'clock. Pregame show on both FanDuel Sports and on the radio side beginning at 7:30. Again, the Magic taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. This will be game number 3 of this 5-game road trip. 1 game up, 1 game down. Magic coming off a tough loss to the Houston Rockets. That would have been Monday night in Houston, and it was just a game where the offensive rebounds were simply not good enough, I think, to win a basketball game. And that's really been a struggle. You know, Dan Savage and Trish and I talked before the game about Trish Wingerson about just how important the offensive rebounds were going to be. It's something that the Magic did fantastically all season long. Pre-All-Star break, the Magic were the best team in the league as far as limiting second chance points, and it's been a bit of an issue post-All-Star break. If you look at the numbers, the Magic all of a sudden, after the All-Star break, have struggled quite a bit with defensive rebounding. They're actually a bottom third team in the league as far as defensive rebounding goes. So small sample size, we know, but that's certainly something Magic need to rectify, and that will be a big key tonight against, yes, a banged-up New Orleans Pelicans team, but a Pelicans team that at the very least are a good offensive rebounding team. They grab over 12 a game. That's 6th in the league. And, of course, we know Zion Williamson, with that size and that athleticism, he's going to grab you 7 rebounds a night. But they got other guys who can kind of snake their way in there and grab offensive boards. One of their best offensive rebounders, rookie Yves Missi, is not going to play tonight. He's on the injury report. So the Magic do sort of catch a break there. Late breaking, we just found out that Cole Anthony is not going to play tonight. He is out of the starting lineup. Corey Joseph will slide in. Cole is still dealing with that toe. Kept him out of the game last week. It's a left big toe strain. So Cole Anthony will not be in the lineup tonight as we get set for the New Orleans Pelicans. We're going to hear in just a minute from Coach Mosley. We're going to see video of our pregame warm-ups there at the Smoothie King Center. I think you're seeing Gogo Batase right now take free throws, but we want to hear from you guys. Make sure you hit us up in the comments. As always, this show is yours, and even though we're out on the road and it's sort of fractured, we got people in different states right now putting this whole thing together. Great to hear from you guys. Jay Curb, Will Dawson, you are in the house. You always are. Let's see. Jay Curb said, Big Jake, what's up? We got this tonight. A little rest. Let's get it right, guys. And then we'll see Will Dawson. He says, nice to hear from you this afternoon. Go Magic. Thank you, Will. Always nice to hear from you as well. Look, 2 days off at this time of year can be an absolute godsend. We know that, right? This Magic team, especially out on the road, had team bonding activity 2 days ago, able to get into the practice floor a little bit, hopefully able to clean up some of those issues that we saw from Monday night. And we've seen sort of 2 performances on opposite sides of the spectrum as far as this road trip goes. One of the better wins, at least since the All-Star break and maybe in calendar year 2025, coming on Saturday night as you went to Milwaukee, won for the first time there in 6 seasons. That was a 111-109 win. Yeah, it came down to it, but you beat a really good team and a healthy, really good team in their building on Saturday night in Milwaukee. And then the Houston game, it was just, you were down by 4 after 1. You end up scoring 84 points. That's typically not going to win you very many NBA games in the year 2025. But as I mentioned, Steven Adams, Alperen Sengun, and the offensive rebounds and the second chance points really told the story, in my opinion, of that game. Rebounding in general, you got out rebounded by 21 rebounds on Monday night in Houston. So as you come in tonight with this Pelicans team that does not shoot the ball very well from the field. They are 24th in the league in field goal percentage. Probably will be a lot of rebounding opportunities tonight for both teams. And so hopefully ball goes up, find a man, hit a man, even if it's number 1, Zion Williamson. And hopefully you're able to keep the Pelicans off the glass tonight, because that will certainly be a big key. I believe we have Coach Mosley's pregame media press conference. We're going to roll some film of that.
I think his ability to get downhill, the way he changes pace, changes speed, and then he's able to attack, get into the basket. Guys are trying to do a great job of raking up at the basketball, and he's strong enough to be able to finish down there while they're grabbing. Hmm.
when teams go into zone defense. So, what do you want to see more of that? How do you want to see more of that from the guys out there?
Well, I really think to break zones up, you do have to move the basketball. You don't need to get stagnant. I think there's also times that you become afraid to attack a zone off the dribble, and I think that's probably what was happening. Ball just being moved around the perimeter, not penetrating into the lane, and I think our ability to touch the paint, even in zone, is those purposeful passes and those purposeful shots.
Is there something in particular that you would say Franz is much better at now than he was, let's say, a year ago?
I mean, he's improved in so many areas. I really do believe he's taken a big leap defensively. We talk about who he's guarding on any given night, his ability to guard multiple defenders, particularly at times point guards. And then being able to just sit down and guard, know the game plan. I think that's one area he's improved extremely well on.
Zion's his numbers have been up recently. What do you kind of say in his play?
I mean, coming off the triple double the other night, I think his ability just to get downhill and then he's spraying it out. Once he gets down to that basket, as he realizes there's 3 or 4 defenders at the rim, his ability to kick out, to knock down shooters. I think that's part of it too. And when you're spraying it out and guys are knocking down shots, those assists go up.
Jamal, tonight there's a really good matchup among both teams' forwards, right?
Yeah.
Franz, Paolo versus Zion, and Trey Murphy, who's really emerged. What do you see?
I think it's a great matchup. It's a really, really good matchup. I mean, Trey is shooting the basketball, greatly. Zion is getting downhill, attacking the basket, finding the open teammates. Obviously, Franz being, elite defender, the way he's been guarding. Paolo being able to step into that matchup with Zion as well. 2 Duke guys going head to head, and I just think it's a very good matchup, a very good story. But again, it's also about the Orlando Magic versus the Pelicans, and I think we focus on that and the way in which we battle as a team.
Did you stick with the same opening lineup?
Yes.
All right, there he is, Coach Mosley, addressing the media in advance of this matchup with the Pelicans tonight. Second matchup of the season against the Pels. We'll detail the last time we saw these guys, which is way at the beginning of November, coming up here momentarily. Coach Mosley talking about, obviously, what I led the show talking about, the offensive rebounding and making sure you don't let what happened against Houston happen tonight against New Orleans. And then obviously you got to lock in on Zion Williamson. He's coming off his second career triple-double. The first one came about 10 days prior in a matchup with Phoenix. This one was against the Clippers the other night. Second in the league, Zion Williamson, in points in the paint, almost 19 a game. So you're talking about a Giannis-type impact as far as paint points go. With that said, the Magic, once again, that is something the Magic have done great all season long. Second in the league this year are the Magic in keeping opponents out of the paint and keeping points in the paint off the scoreboard. So that'll be a big matchup to keep an eye on tonight. I remember Coach Mosley telling me last year, as far as Zion goes, you can't just back off and dare the guy to shoot, because if you give him 2 dribbles to kind of get a head start before impact, then he's just going to go right through you. And so you kind of got to stay stuck to him the whole time. Yeah, he's fast enough to rip you off the dribble, but you want to make sure he's feeling you as he's coming across mid-court. You don't want to be waiting back in the paint and letting him get 2 dribbles, and then he's going to go right through you or right over you. So Zion Williamson obviously presents a whole pack of problems for Coach Mosley and for the Magic defense to deal with. Look, it's Pelicans team that's just, their season has been decimated by injuries. The Herb Jones injury was huge. Obviously, the DeJounte Murray injury. Just 18 wins coming in tonight, but they are coming off a win over the Clippers the other night. They do have C.J. McCollum. We know he can absolutely light you up. He had 50 earlier in the season in a game. And Williamson, when he's on the floor, granted, it's only the 28th game of the season for Zion, but we know how impactful he can be when he is out on the floor, and coming off a triple-double the other night and still having a really good and efficient season, as he always does when available. 24.7 rebounds and shooting over 56% from the field is Zion. Keep the comments coming in if you are watching us on YouTube. Jake Chapman here with you. I am back in our Kia Center studios. We call it the Juice Box because it is a box, and we bring juice for every road broadcast, and hopefully the Magic have a little juice tonight as they take on the New Orleans Pelicans. First of a 3-game in 4 days coming up here. We'll see Minnesota tomorrow night, and then Cavs at 1 o'clock on Sunday. So tough 2 games coming up after this one. Really got to get this one, you would hope, to get to 2-1 on this 5-game road trip and in advance of what will be 2 very difficult games tomorrow night. The Timberwolves are playing just about as well as anybody across the NBA right now. We heard of what Coach Mosley had to say, some game plan tips for tonight for his team. How about we hear from the team itself? We've got some shoot-around sound from this morning there at the Smoothie King Center, the Magic getting set to take on the Pelicans. Let's hear from the guys.
Paolo, going into tonight's game, what were some of the key pieces and challenges that you guys want to accomplish in tonight's game against this New Orleans squad?
Well, I think most importantly, we want to come out and get a win. But I think we know we have to do certain things well to get the win. One of them is, defending. They're a pretty high-powered offensive team. They got some guys that can really score the ball. So trying to slow those guys down, show them bodies, get out to their shooters. And then on offense, they're going to play a lot of zone, so being ready for that. And I'm just trying to, find our flow offensively.
I mean, they're not as challenging on the boards as Houston, but still got to rebound. Can't give up that many offensive rebounds. And then just getting out and running, playing downhill, playing aggressive, moving the basketball, and winning the game.
I don't think really the ball wasn't moving. I just think the ball really wasn't moving with any purpose, if that makes sense. I mean, the ball was moving around the floor, but, it wasn't really a lot of problems being created. It wasn't a lot of penetration to kickouts to create easy looks. So I think that's something where you just got to remind everybody to be aggressive and attack, create for each other, create for themselves, and just, I think, Houston's zone slowed us down in that last game. So I'm sure New Orleans will try to do the same thing tonight. So just being ready for that and realizing that, you have to penetrate the zone to beat it.
I know you haven't seen Zion in a while, but what are the key challenges against him?
I mean, he's tough. He gets downhill. Even though that's what you're ready for, he's going to get downhill. And so your best job is to just put a man in front of him, try not to give him angles, and make him, make tough finishes. And he's good at it. So we just, it's an every-man effort playing together defensively, and we'll, make him work.
All right, there you go. The fellas this morning at Shoot Around. You heard from Paolo Banchero, and the Magic getting set to take on the New Orleans Pelicans here for the second time this season. First time we saw them, it feels like ages ago. That was way back at the beginning of November. Game number 10, the Magic, a 115-88 win over a Pelicans team that, as I was looking today, I'm pretty sure the entire starting lineup tonight will be different for the Pelicans. That night, they started Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Brandon Ingram, Yves Missi, Jose Alvarado, and Brandon Boston. And Boston and Missi out tonight with injury. Jeremiah Robinson Earl has been out of the starting lineup. He may be out of the rotation. Brandon Ingram is a Canadian now. And Jose Alvarado, I don't think will get to start tonight, but as we know, he will be a big part of what the Pelicans like to do. And that was a game where, and you want to talk about how different it feels. Let's see, we got 17 points off the bench on 8 of 11 shooting for Mo Wagner. He combined with his brother for 44 points that night. Franz had 27, had 6 assists. Magic moved the ball that night. And it's another thing that we talked about on the post-game show after the Houston game. Yeah, the offensive rebounds and the lack thereof for the Magic the other night against the Rockets were a big swing, but periodically over the course of games the last couple of weeks, you've just seen the ball stop moving at times. And within the half court, the Magic it's so contingent on ball movement and getting good looks just because they're not a great perimeter shooting team and because they're not a great perimeter shooting team off the bounce. So we need that thing snapping around in order to create some imbalances within the half court and get Paolo and Franz in the spots we want them in. That was something that happened at the beginning of November. 28 assists for the Magic as a team that night and 26 fast break points. So that'd be a huge swing. Anytime the Magic are turning teams over, getting out and running and getting easy buckets, that's how you get up into the 115s typically for Orlando, because there just aren't many games where you knock down 23s or whatever. But if you let your defense help out a lot, Magic turned New Orleans over 16 times that night in early November for 20 points off turnovers. And as I mentioned, the fast break points, 26, a huge number for this Orlando team. Those were all big keys in that basketball game. Now, again, you didn't have Zion Williamson that night, no CJ McCollum at that point either. But I think the Magic, there's certainly some keys that you can point to from that basketball game, try to lock in on and carry forward however different both teams seem to be at this point of the season. Let's get to your tale of the tape here tonight. As I mentioned, it hadn't been a great year for the Pelicans. Injuries have completely derailed their season. They are coming off a win, but just 18 of those things on the year. And as far as the offensive ratings numbers go, this may be a low scoring game. They are 25th in the league in offensive rating. The Magic come in at 28th in the league. Defensive rating is the big swing. The Magic second still in defensive rating, although we have seen some slippage. Magic right about middle of the pack post All-Star break as far as defensive rating goes. But the Pelicans have been the worst defensive team in the league this season. And with a defensive-minded head coach in Willie Green, who, by the way, has had 3 pretty darn good seasons at the helm in New Orleans, that's where I think you see the injuries. You're talking about a Herb Jones, who is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Injury that I think really sort of threw their season off. He only played 20 games, did Herb Jones, but then DeJounte Murray was supposed to help in that regard. Things just went sideways when those guys got hurt. And then, Zion Williamson played 6 games at the beginning of the year, missed the next 27 with a hamstring injury. And by the time he came back, the team was 7-30, and it was already almost a lost season at that point. So it's a New Orleans team that is, maybe sort of making their way to the offseason, but defensively, they have really struggled this year. So what have they done well? Well, they're 11th in offensive rebound percentage, and they are 5th in second chance points. So here we are again. The beautiful thing about the NBA is you always seem to have another quick chance to rectify your mistakes. It was obviously a big issue the other night against the Houston Rockets. Steven Adams and Alperen Şengün absolutely controlled the glass that night. So whether or not it's Zion, whether you're looking down the bench and you're talking about the rookie Karlo Makovic, Kelly Olynyk, our old buddy Mo Bamba, whatever big is on the floor tonight, we better make sure when that shot goes up, we're getting a good box out on everybody on the floor tonight. And it's going to have to be a team rebounding endeavor, as it always is, as Coach Mosley always says. The Magic have a kind of a team-wide philosophy of typically sending 4 or 5 to the glass when the shot goes up. So you won't have Cole